What's up, gamers? Hi, Guardians, and hello, Internet. Welcome to Sloop Gaming. I hope everyone's doing well. Gonna try something a little different. I'm gonna put a spin on a spin, and let's see where it lands. At the very least, I'm gonna have fun doing it, and that's the whole point of why I took on this whole content creating and live streaming journey, is to have fun and hopefully down the road able to support myself on it, right? So with that out of the way, this is going to be a start of a series where I provide my reaction to their reactions to them reacting, quite simply put. So in other words, we could also say my reaction to them reacting to their reactions. My reaction to them reacting to their reactions. Now say that 5 times fast. It's not just conversations I've had with friends of mine offline, but also online. The biggest buzz right now is reacting to people's videos and then giving your take, right? And it's a great way to take someone's content and their information, bring it into your community, highlight that content, and also provide your feedback. So that's essentially what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be commenting not just on the original poster, but also on the reactor of that person's reaction content. And it also gives me an opportunity to engage my community, as well as the broader online community, to, you know, have conversations and just a cool discourse about what's going on, about what the buzz is. So what we're going to highlight today is Grenadier's Jake's reaction to Glad's reaction on PvP. So I'm going to do a screen share to YouTube. We're going to play it, and then as it goes on, I'll provide my input on it, and then we'll see what happens. I will be putting links for both of those gentlemen's channels, as well as the specific content in the description below. And I've watched them several times, and I thoroughly enjoy everything that they put out. Good peeps, never met them, definitely would like to. Hope you guys are doing well, and hope you enjoy my take on your take on their take. So let's see what's going on over here. And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to watch Glad's video where he talks about PvP. I know that probably every YouTuber on the planet has already done this before. My editor, Stonewall, is telling me that I should do it. And there's a lot of people in my Twitch chat who've suggested it might be a good idea, because they always keep asking me, what do you think about Glad's video? I haven't even watched it. I don't know. So we're going to watch this video. We're going to react to it. We're going to talk about it.
So FYI, I watched parts of Glad's video. Actually, when it first dropped, I was interested in getting his take, but I kept on getting interrupted that day, and I never finished it. So the second half is going to be completely new to me.
I don't even know what the video's about, besides that PvP players don't want to hear it. If you're like, dude, I've watched 6 people do this already, why are you doing this? Blame my editor. It's his fault. Stonewall's fault. If you think the video's good, then it was all my...
This is another funny point. If you've already watched 6 people do a reaction on it, I mean, that's content creating, right? That's like saying I've watched a television show about, you know, warriors and dragons. All right, well, it's been there, done that, but you still watch it because it's a different take and it's a different spin, and it's, you know, from an entity, an individual, in this case a content creator, that you hold stock and you find value in. So I mean, how many Zer videos are out there, you know, mine included. You know, they each have we're each presenting the same information, but just packaging it differently. And then, you know, if you find one more entertaining than the other, or maybe you find them all entertaining, you click on them and you watch them. So, you know, just because, you know, multiple people are doing the same thing doesn't make it a bad thing.
Idea. All me.
Why are you the way that you are?
But before we get into the rest of the video, prepare yourselves for my first ever voiceover, sponsored by Predator Storage. Looking for an SSD upgrade that truly delivers? Then check out the Predator Storage GM7000 M.2 SSD. This little beast harnesses the power of PCIe 4.0, giving you blazing fast.
A lot of people want to fast forward through these.
Just about the speed.
I mean, as a content creator myself, I would love an opportunity to, you know, get involved with, you know, products that I personally use, that I'm passionate about, and be able to market them on my channel. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
And don't worry about data transfer. It comes with.
And also for those that are new to content creating and just listening to how Grenadier Jake and others do their presentation and promote their products, it's a good tutorial for someone who's established in the business.
So this is bound to piss some people off, but I don't really give a fuck, because when have I ever? So
I feel that. There's my first
with
live
my own. PvE has always been and will always be a priority of the game, and I know people don't like to hear this, right? I know people don't like to hear this, but Destiny is a PvE game with PvP intertwined within it. But
I agree. I agree that Destiny is in a spot where Bungie doesn't really give a fuck what we suggest. Why are we even caring to suggest when they just don't care? They've got their own plan. They're going to do their own plan. Doesn't matter what we all say we want. They're going to do their own thing. I agree with that. PvE is definitely.
Okay. That's disappointing to hear from someone who has been involved in not only playing Destiny, but covering Destiny literally since day one. All right. This gentleman is an OG. He's well refined at his craft, not just playing the game, but providing content for it. The fact that he says that Bungie doesn't give a fuck what our feedback is not only contra to what they communicate to us, right? But there's a lot of creators out there that advocate, you know, go to the forums, go to Bungie help, at them, provide this feedback. I think that falls more in line with, you know, addressing like bugs and things like that for them to be aware of, so, you know, they can implement, you know, quick fixes. But as far as the longevity of the game, what direction it will go into, honestly, it doesn't feel like Bungie takes into community concerns. There are those meetings, those groups that Bungie invites to get feedback, because they are influencers, if you will. That's another conversation. I don't think feedback should necessarily be from someone that has 1 million subscribers, right? Anyone else out there that's played the game for 10 years, I feel like your opinion is just as valid as anyone else's that actually does content for them. Just because you're not a content creator or a streamer doesn't make your opinion less valid than those that are, especially if you have as much tenure and experience in the game. But I do agree as well. It sucks that a lot of like this really constructive feedback over the last decade that the community has provided seems to fall on deaf ears. And if it is utilized, it's nominal at best.
The main thing, PvP is the side bitch, 100%.
But it is a PvE game at its
PvP
core,
is the side bitch.
Always been and will always be a PvE game at its core.
That's true. With
PvP mixed in, which gives it that cool blend of genres that we all
I've had this conversation with friends a million times.
PvP from Destiny, it's not Destiny anymore. Destiny,
and I'm sure you have as well.
PvP in it. However, it's a fucking PvE game at its core. And people fucking freak out. I've literally seen people freak out about that.
It is.
But I mean, if you can't fucking see that at this point, then you're fucking lost.
I don't think
You
there's
are
anybody
so
that disagrees with
beyond,
that.
like-
But I will say, before he gets to whatever he's going to get to, that doesn't change the idea that it'd be nice if Bungie still cared about PvP. Even if it's a PvE main game, even if he recognizes that, yeah, PvP is a part of it, they still should care about that part of it, maybe less than PvE. I don't know what he gets to. We'll keep letting him talk.
Okay, so right there, Jake, the fact that you're saying that's his point, right? Like, you're predominantly a PvP guy, right? Like, that's the 99% of your content, right? If I'm wrong, let me know. But in my opinion, that's what Glad is trying to communicate. You know, it would be nice if Bungie would, but Bungie has not, will not, and most likely will never give Destiny PvP the focus that it does PvE, which is why there's a disparity, right? Which is why there's a gap into, you know, what the studio focuses on and prioritizes, which is PvE, and then the PvP is left down here. Hence the side bitch that you that you said at the beginning of the video.
People want this PvP game to just constantly have all of these, like Destiny. They want this Destiny PvP game to just have all of these focused updates on PvP, and they want it to be the next like competitive PvP game, you know. And it's never been like that. So I don't know where this even came from in the first place. So like fucking years ago, I'm like, all right, like Destiny is definitely more of a PvE game, but okay. I mean, you know, I hope that the PvP gets service, but it's never going to be a priority. They're not just going to drop all the PvE and just balance the game on PvP.
I don't feel like there's very many people who want what he's suggesting. There's very few people who are actually interested in like Destiny tournaments. I certainly don't want it to be some like next level competitive PvP game. I've never thought it would be. I don't really think there's that many people in the community who ever wanted that or thought it ever could be that. So I'm curious to see where he goes with this, because at the moment I'm like, huh?
Enjoy the PvP.
I'm surprised that Jake says that, because the PvP mains that I have encountered over the years in Destiny and in Destiny 2 have always beat the drum, we need more attention, right? Like, for example, what's like the biggest gaffe as far as PvP updates right now, right? Probably like introduction of new maps, right? I wouldn't necessarily say game modes, because there's a lot of different game modes out there, but it's like new maps, man. Like, when's the last fucking time in a season or an expansion Bungie released like half a dozen new maps? It's been like, it's like never, right? PvP mains out there, let me know. But I know it's just like these sound bites and these blurbs and these, you know, under 200 character Twitter social media posts that kind of get isolated and focused, and then they represent being, you know, the, you know, speaking for the majority of PvP mains out there, which they're really not. They represent a minority, right, of that player base. But for me, in the conversation that I had, every PvP player is beating the community drum saying, you know, we want more. So let's see what Glad and Jake have to say.
PvP, that's great. I'm not hating on people that do, right? But let's remember where Destiny's focus is here. And then another year goes by, and it's, you know, I'm not happy. PvP does not make me happy. And it's like, dude, this is the same conversation that we had last year. Like, Destiny is a PvE focused game. Like, you're not gonna get what you want out of Destiny's PvP. I'm pretty sure we've made that clear now for like all of Destiny 1 and now a couple years into Destiny 2, and then another year goes by and all I see,
Somebody help! They won't take their underwear off.
All I see, and then that, are you kidding me?
An expensive designer drawer.
what fucking year is it now? How many years
That's
are
funny.
we gonna go over this? Like, you keep expecting these things from Bungie, and it's very clear that this is not where their attention and their efforts are, and their energy and their money is going towards. Like, their money is going towards the bigger picture of Destiny.
Okay, I'm gonna disagree with him. I might disagree with a lot of this video. Honestly, I'm gonna agree with a lot of it too, but I kind of feel like it's important to sort of rebuttal. Still don't know where he's fully going, but I still feel like it's important to pause. We have not spent years and years and years and years and years and years and years of PvP sucking. It's important to realize there's been tons of upside. I feel like at the moment he's just suggesting that like PvP sucks and has always sucked and will always suck, and we're just bitching nonstop even though it's gonna just continue to suck. But PvP has been like this. We've been on a wild ride, dudes. Through the 8, 9, whatever years it's been in Destiny, we've had so many highs and lows in PvP. It's not like we've just spent the whole time in the gutters being like, please throw us something, like we need it. That's not the case. Like even 3 months ago when Strand first came out, before Immortal was out, PvP felt incredible. The first couple weeks of Trials this season, it was super fun. Back in 2021, they gave us a gigantic update in Trials. They changed the entire system of Trials. They allowed solos and duos to queue. They allowed for all these new ways to get rewards. You didn't even have to win games anymore. You just had to win rounds. They have had plenty of updates through plenty of seasons where PvP gets a buff and gets a boost and it feels good. So that makes it so when this, you know, we're riding this roller coaster, when we're at the bottom of the roller coaster, you're going to see these tweets of people being upset and being frustrated because just months ago, we were at that top of the roller coaster and PvP felt good. They've added skill base, which makes it goes down. They've done things to make it go back up. It hasn't been this like flat line like he's sort of suggesting of just garbage. Anyway, we'll keep watching because again.
Okay, Jake. Well, I think what Glad is trying to say is that the roller coaster that you're explaining, I agree with you. Like if you look at the history of the content drips and the content updates, the highs are very high and the lows are very low. But the fact that there's no continuity in that, I think, is the steady plane, right? The linear complaining, if you will, of the PvP community. Okay. As someone who enjoys playing PvP, but I'm certainly not a PvP main. In fact, in order for me personally to have fun in PvP, I need to like psych myself up for it, right? Because I'm a very competitive person and I don't like to lose doing stupid shit or like because I haven't practiced enough, right? So I need to like psych myself up, get into it, make sure I understand my loadout, and start making adjustments and start getting those practice runs in so I can play at a level that I'm comfortable with, so I really don't get frustrated and not have fun doing it, because I want to be effective, right? I just don't want to hop in there and get murdered. You know what I mean? Like I want to be competitive to a degree, whether that's in the competitive playlist or outside of it. Okay, with that being said, I think what Glad is going to be, and this is kind of at the point where I haven't watched the rest of it, but I think what he's going to allude to, and I think Jake is going to find himself agreeing with, is that it's not that PvP players aren't appreciative of when the updates come. It's the fact that it's always too late, it's always not enough, and whatever update it does come, it just presents more problems, right? And it also suffers is because there's not an overwhelming amount of people in the game that play PvP. It's a minority player base. There's not a lot.
And I've never seen this. I don't know where he's gonna go at this point.
And it's just at the point where it's like all these fucking PvP players do. I'm not lumping every PvP player in the entire world. There's tons of people that are making changes, and I respect that, and I appreciate you, and I hope that you find happiness. But overall, the general vibe
me a bit there
of
and others
of Destiny and what the PvP players want is it's just constant disappointment and never getting what they want, and always thinking that there's something around the corner or the next update, or that they're entitled to this or entitled to that, or that this needs to happen, or that Bungie hasn't been servicing them, or what kind of fucking, like, are they even listening? It's just like all these things that are just fucking made up that have never ever been a thing in the first place.
Yeah,
and they're always unhappy and they're always complaining.
Disagree.
Why are you still here? Move on. Like you are so fucking stuck that in this thing that is just going to spin and spin and spin and spin and spin in the same spot, and it's never going to go anywhere. And you're
All right, I'm gonna talk to Twitch chat for a second. Please do not be rude. Glad's just stating his opinion. Don't be rude to me. Don't be rude to Glad. It's not okay for y'all to do that. Same with the comments on YouTube. Hopefully keep it respectful. We're people. I know you might hate Glad or hate me, but like, we're people, dudes. Please try to keep it somewhat respectful. So
Yeah, so straight up, I agree 110% with what Jake is saying to his chat right now. And that goes in the future for anyone that's in my chat currently, or in the future. Zero tolerance policy for any type of hate, derogatory language, over the top, condescending remarks. It's unacceptable. There's a zero tolerance for it. And to be quite frank, just get the fuck out of chat and get the fuck out of the community if that's the vibe that you're gonna bring, right? Like, if that's really how you feel and you really want to get that point across, then start your own fucking channel, okay? And then spew all the hate and the angst that you want, and we'll see how many people dig on that vibe. Good luck with that.
to Glad's first point, again, kind of going back to what I was just saying, I do disagree with him. I think that this idea that we've always been pissed off and we've never gotten any update and it's just like nothing's ever happening is false. We don't get new maps. That is a forever meme, I feel like. The fact
What did
that
I
it's
say?
been like 5 years and we've gotten like one reskinned map, we haven't really gotten a new one in almost 5 years, is like a joke. I agree that
It's a fucking
perfect
joke.
example of how Bungie doesn't give very many fucks about PvP. People
I gotta stop Jake right there, and I gotta say this. How can you, as a PvP main, and this is a point, I don't think Jake is seeing, at least in this instance of his reaction, okay, of his reacting to Glad's reaction. In this particular instance, I don't think he's seeing Glad's forest from the trees, right? The whole Glad is you're spinning and spinning and spinning. It's because as a PvP main, if you're saying the studio, on top of everything else, not update everything, but not even introducing new maps on a regular basis when years go by before new maps are introduced, like that is a gong that rings, that resonates, throughout time, and hopefully, well, apparently it hasn't, according to Glad, inside that PvP Destiny PvP main's head, that listen, your complaints will never be heard and never be addressed because the studio ain't doing shit to accommodate you. They're doing whatever is needed to maintain that aspect of the game, right? And as both these gentlemen aforementioned, being PvE side bitch, but it'll never be on the level of PvE. And quite frankly, from what we've seen, it'll never be truly representative of what the PvP community wants it to be, right? Updated maps, sandbox, regular tuning, transparency in that regard, game modes, and adopting like the real constructive feedback from like astute professionals like Grenadier Jake, and when they go to visit Bungie themselves, I don't know if he has or not, or anyone else for that matter, when they give this type of input, to seriously consider it and adopt it and put it in game.
Making that joke over and over, I fully understand. It's insane to me that they haven't made any new maps for us, essentially, besides a recent Junction, which was just like a map called Frontier in Destiny 1. If you really pay attention, it was almost the same map. It just looks different.
Oh, that's interesting.
Anyway,
I didn't know that.
I agree with him that there are some people, though, who just spew negativity, and it's like, why are they still in the community? So I agree with him with that.
Go start your own channel.
Some people that play PvP that seem to never be satisfied and never be happy. And I'm going to talk about myself for a second. That is not the case for me. That is not. I've spent way more time in PvP content than I've spent angry and frustrated. Right now, in the summer of 2023, I am fucking pissed. There are cheaters everywhere. It's clear that most of their resources involving PvP are going to a different game, which feels like they're taking money out of their Destiny community's pockets and putting it into their different game. That shit sucks. There being no new maps, it's been an old meme, but that still sucks. There being cheaters everywhere sucks. Them taking forever to do anything about the people flying around with infinite ammo sucks. There's a lot of things at this exact moment in time that absolutely suck. But let's just talk about since D2 Trials of Osiris came out, which was March 2020. I have spent way more time enjoying PvP than I've spent being angry about it. Way more time. And therefore, it feels very, very fine for me to tweet out my frustrations when I have them and tweet about, yo, today's stream was awesome. We got 9 people flawless, had a great time. See you tomorrow, when I enjoyed it. Because I've always done that. I've done both sides. It's easy for people to remember the negatives. Easy for people to remember the times that I faced that cheater and it got 10,000 views on a Twitter clip, or when I complained so much on this one tweet that it went viral because everyone thinks I'm a bitch. Like, whatever. People remember the negatives, but they forget about how, I don't know, 75% of the time over the last 3.5 years, I've had fun playing Trials and I've enjoyed the metas.
So I'm just going to stop Jake here. Oh, hey, man, I'm sure you have spent over 75% of your time enjoying it. But when you know that when you tweet something, given the size of your community and the influence that you have in social media, that if it does have some type of negative connotation to it, the fucking the court of public opinion is going to take it and run and be judge, jury, and executioner, whether they agree with you or they want to hang you, you know, from the highest tree, man. It's like, it's a lose-lose a lot for like social media influencers, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And from like a marketing perspective, yeah, it's like when you watch the news, the news isn't all sunshine, puppies and kittens. You know, it's who got murdered. It's a lot of despair. It's a lot of negativity, because unfortunately that sells, right? So even if you tweet something that you might have, you know, positive expectations for, or that you want off to come off a positive, if there's even a slight negative connotation, that's what people are going to drill down on. And that's what people are going to define you and your experience, whether it be currently in PvP or for your entire career, you know. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
So I'm disagreeing with a lot of the aspects because of that. However, I do agree, there are people who seem to hate every single meta and every single season and simply shit talk Bungie the whole time. And I agree with Glad. Why the fuck are you still here? I absolutely agree with that. There are,
and it's not just PvP, it's PvE. And I'll tell you what, fucking newsflash, it ain't just Destiny, man. All right, it's any fucking game. Now, I've only been creating content and live streaming for a couple months right now, but since I have been, I have a heightened awareness and an acuteness for how people respond to different updates, different games, different scenarios, not just in Destiny, but in other titles that I play. Okay. And when I read socials, I have like a different perspective on it now. Okay. I don't spend a lot of time in social media reading and researching. I do what I need to do for like my content and to like answer maybe a particular question or inquiry that I have. But when I come across like these negative shit posts, right? The main thing that resonates with me is a lot of the actual conversations I have and overhear. And it's not necessarily like filled with hatred, but it's just a lot of disappointment and a lot of frustration, right? So there's a lot of that going on right now, specifically within Destiny. And I wish I could just like, you know, open up the box and say, here are all the answers. You know, this is what we need to do. But I think in people reacting and then others, astute, professional, established creators like Jake reacting to their reactions and bringing this type of conversation into the limelight, I think once you have people communicating with each other and sharing their frustrations, I am hopeful that it will turn into a constructive thing that not only lets people process what's going on in their mind so they can make a decision. Okay, this is my leisure time. Do I really want to invest doing this? Because nothing's going to change. Maybe I should do something differently, whether it be online or offline. And if I'm a content creator, whether established or new, like myself, how am I going to evaluate and put out content that I want? Maybe that's going to change based upon this conversation, the input that I'm getting from having these conversations. So let's hear what else Jake and Glad have to say.
Are people in this community that make content, people in this community who don't make content, who spew negativity and frustration 24/7 perpetually, and the fact that they don't go and do
that'll
something
never
else
end.
blows my fucking mind.
It'll never end.
Dude, it's just negative energy, just fucking all the time.
At the moment,
And it just gets
It'll never.
worse
No,
every
Jake, not
season
at the
and
moment.
every
It's
season and
always
every
like
season,
this.
and it's the same fucking conversations all the time. And that's what's happening.
It's always like this, Jake, right? It's always like this, Jake, because as a young content creator, right, early in my development, right, like the small community that I have, you know, for the most part, 75% of the time, maybe even higher than that, it's all positive and it's all constructive, just like what I said before. Like, even if someone is frustrated, you know, the point of views that are shared help you make a better decision of not only what to do in game, but whether to play the game, and it could carry over to another title or maybe something in IRL. But there is an overwhelming amount of just shit post out there, and it's just sad to see, and it'll never go away. But by having this type of discourse and watching this type of video and having these type of conversations, that light amidst the darkness will shine brighter and brighter and be a beacon for other like-minded individuals to flock towards it, to share communities, to share ideas, and to just be more at peace as a gamer, right? And ultimately as a person. Because nobody wants to read bullshit, right? But we do anyway. But nobody wants to be impacted in a negative way, from player all the way up to studio, from just this constant barrage of toxicity, right? And the best way to combat that is to join other like-minded positive people and have conversations, productive, constructive conversations about what those pain points are, so you can begin to heal and move forward.
Maps conversation's the same.
It's just what's the word? Exhausting, draining, same shit. You know what I mean? And it comes to a point where, like, if you're one of these people that is just like, if you're in chat right now and you're one,
I'm gonna pause it for half a second. I agree with a lot of what he's saying, but I do want to make a point kind of clear with how Twitter works, and he's probably forming almost all of his opinions, by the way, from looking at Twitter. Negativity success, or
you don't know that
success on Twitter. It sucks, but it's true. If you tweet out, "I'm having so much fun in Crucible, I love it," it's gonna get 100 likes. If you tweet out, "I fucking hate Crucible, what the fuck, Bungie," it's gonna get 1,000 likes. So it's really easy to see all the
we talked about that
as they rise up, whereas the content with Destiny, content with Crucible posts kind of get sunk down to the bottom. So he's probably seeing a lot of those negative posts, and they're probably overlapping the happier ones. Although there are no happy posts right now, but that's probably leading to him seeing
extremely called out, and you're like, I mean, that's me, right? I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here. I'm knocking on your skull, and I'm saying, wake the fuck up, because because nothing's gonna change. Especially now with Marathon, which is I think the biggest reason all of this drama is getting worse is because of Marathon. Marathon made things way worse because now everyone has a cause, right? Yeah, now everyone has something to point at. Oh, like, it's because of this. Yep. And you know what? They're probably fucking right, which gives you even more reason to move the fuck on. Like, if you're that unhappy season after season with Destiny, then that's your own fucking fault at this point. Like if you're playing Destiny for PvP and you are just that upset season after season, and it is just such a fucking grueling thing that you're just, it's this self-induced at this point, because nothing's gonna happen.
That's a
And if
you
Destiny
problem.
comes out with a huge fucking PvP revamp, you know, the whole game becomes a PvP focused, I'll eat my words, but I'm telling you right now, that's not gonna fucking happen.
No,
Nope.
that's not gonna happen. I agree with what he's saying. I disagree in the sense that I've already told you, in that it's more of this. He's talking like we're at the bottom of the barrel and always have been and always will be. He's really not recognizing that we have had good updates. We've had good metas. We've had fun situations in PvP over the last few years. He's acting like that's never happened. However, recognizing that I've already talked about that, I agree with the other stuff he's saying. I agree that people being like, we want 5 new maps and we want this crazy dedicated PvP update, and like, that shit is not going to happen. Absolutely. If that's what you're waiting for, you shouldn't be playing this game. I fully agree with that. I also agree that it's important for people who are this miserable with the game to have backups. I'm a streamer. I'm a full-time streamer, dudes. And my income comes from broadcasting on Twitch. That's how I make my money. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I support my wife and I. That's how I plan for my future. So personally speaking, the idea of getting away from Destiny is scary when it's such a big backbone to my success on Twitch. If you don't stream and make YouTube videos and you're purely playing Destiny for 100% happiness, there's nothing else involved in it, then it should be even easier to get away. And even I was just playing Halo before making this video and am willing to play other games and whatnot while I'm not enjoying the meta this much. It is...
Jake, I hear you, man. As someone who is new to content creation and live streaming, you know, obviously I have, you know, my dream is to be, you know, as close as I can to the tip of Everest. But, you know, my goal is just to be, you know, just let me get higher than base camp. You know what I mean? At this point, to do so, you really have 2 choices to go, right? You either do variety, a bunch of different games. You can stick to one particular game, and I guess there's 3, or you can do a combination of both. You need to, you know, build up your own community to help you refine your craft, and not just broadcasting on Twitch or whatever platform it is, you know, but also providing other content, you know, such as YouTube or TikTok, Twitter, what have you, right? So it's a process to not only learn the craft, but to refine it. And at the end of the day, you know, have it be something that's, you know, informative and entertaining for people to vibe on top of just like your general vibe and, you know, take on whatever it is, you know. Plus you got to have, you know, skill in the game too, right? Like you can't I don't know of too many like really successful creators, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that are just horrible at the game that they play. Like you definitely have to be like adept in playing. One point that Jake makes is that, you know, if Destiny is the only game that you play and there's nothing else, it's a lot easier for you to walk away from. But if Destiny is the only game that you play, I don't think you fall into the category of being one of the bellyachers that's posting those shit posts and constantly complaining about the game, right? I know people that are very close friends of mine where Destiny is the only title that they play, and they play it every single day, and they are some of the most positive, okay, and kind human beings that I've had the pleasure of meeting, okay? And I vibe off of them, because when I feel frustrated in the game, whether it be something in PvP or PvE, what have you, I look at them as like my beacon of light, because they're just playing for the pure love. They just enjoy the product, right? And I think that is what Glad is trying to communicate. Like, just walk away if you're not frustrated. That's what Jake is relating to. It's easier for you to walk away if this is the only game that you play. But if you have certain investment, perhaps maybe you don't. What I'm trying to say is, in reaction to both of these gentlemen, is you have to move on if it becomes something that's unhealthy. If you are taking to socials and having conversations and it's negative, right? And you know it's negative because the people that will reply to those comments or reply to what you're saying in chat or in IRL, right? If they're agreeing with you and continuing that negativity, that's just a very unhealthy spiral. You might think, oh, this is a bunch of like-minded people, but you're not only doubling down on the frustration and the angst that you're building up, you're just like, you're immersing yourself in being miserable. And that's where Glad is saying, I'm knocking on the door. I'm knocking on your heads right now saying, move the fuck on, right? Because he doesn't want you to be miserable, right? He doesn't want his fellow gamers to be miserable, nor does Jake. Let's see what else that they have to say.
So important for every Destiny player, both PvP and PvE, because he's not talking about how PvE blows chunks after 2 weeks every season either. He's not mentioning that it's so fucking boring after 2 weeks every season. It's important for Destiny players to
disagree
have
with
other
that,
games,
but
other
I get what you're
activities
saying.
outside of gaming or other games or both. If you play Destiny 2 and that's the only game you play and you play it like 40 plus hours a week like I do, you're gonna burn out from it, dudes. And then you're gonna be frustrated like he's suggesting. It's important that when the metas suck and when you're burnt out, you go play other shit instead of just complain. I am gonna complain and play Trials even when it sucks ass because it's such a big part of my career. But at least
it's your
I've
job.
recently become willing to,
It's your
while
job,
it's
Jake.
terrible, swap off to another game and play something else to end my stream. Or
Yeah.
get away from it midday and go play Diablo, which I did.
And also another thing is, and I don't know, maybe he'll mention it, maybe not. A lot of times, from what I've seen, content creators and streamers are very cautious when they speak about the business side of what they do, you know. And I'm not saying that, you know, they need to go out there and like cite specific numbers and metrics, right? Show their tax returns or what have you. But it's almost taboo for a content creator or streamer to like even like talk about the business side and how they benefit from certain things inside of their community or what have you. It just for some reason it's not discussed. Whereas like in other businesses, right, especially those that I've been involved with in the past, like if you're asked that question, or as you're facilitating whatever endeavor, whatever business that you're doing, that tends to come up in conversation, right? Maybe not necessarily like your personal compensation, but just like the finances and you know, financial ramifications of X, Y, and Z. I don't know if he's going to allude to this or say something straight up, but for someone that dedicates 100% of their time to like streaming and doing Destiny content creation, if they get burnt out and they decide to do something different, I can only imagine what type of like financial hit that would be for them going into another piece of content. Because even though they probably have a supportive community, and of course Jake does, right? He could potentially, you know, it may not be as attractive to what he's built up playing that one particular game, which, you know, could have you know, a negative effect on, you know, what his, you know, daily, weekly, or, you know, monthly payout's going to be, you know, depending upon how he has things structured.
A week ago. I find it crazy that there are some people that are so dedicated to Destiny, they won't get away for an hour from it to play another game. Like, open up your horizons a little bit. I agree with him on this perspective a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Just doing that will make you come back to Destiny and think it's cooler. You might even take a month off and just come back and be like, oh shit, this game is really cool. I missed.
I'm gonna cut Jake off right there. I agree with that 110%, man. And you know, those in my community and my Destiny clan and on my Discord server, there are times where I have stepped away. I think one of the last times I put my foot down was last year's Guardian games. Okay. I think I went in at first. I was hoping, fingers crossed, for something different from the prior year. okay? And it was the same old shit, and it was the same old gear and the same old weapon, and I did whatever I had to do to, you know, get the featured thing, whatever it was, whatever cosmetic or what have you. And as soon as I acquired it, which was like my first session, I was fucking out. I didn't care about doing anything else or any other associated triumphs. I'm just like, why is a company that has been innovative and progressive in the past and positions themselves as continuing to be innovative and progressive, releasing the same shit over and over again, which also feeds the argument of what the subject matter of Glad's video is and Jake's reaction is, why is a studio that's so progressive like shitting on PvP, right? When obviously, even though it's a minority player base and it's not the main focus of the game, why is it still the side bitch, right? I mean, at least like take her out to dinner once in a while, you know what I mean? Show her a good time. It's just like, you know, it's basically just like, you know, they feed PvP, you know, fast food, and then here you go. They don't even get them an Uber. They just say, to throw them a bicycle and say, you know, thank God you're only a mile down the road. You know, it's ridiculous.
The gunplay is incredible. That's part of why we want PvP to be so good, because the gunplay is so damn good in Destiny that we crave PvP to be good.
The gunplay in Destiny 2, whatever the secret sauce is of the coding that Bungie has done, makes Destiny unbelievable. And when I've taken my breaks and I stepped away, and perhaps I didn't really like continue my point, when I stepped away and came back, it not only made me appreciate, you know, the fantastic gunplay and the synergy with the abilities and the subclasses and, you know, all of that, but it made me just appreciate Destiny for being Destiny, right? And all issues and all frustrations aside, I'm not saying like I fall back in love with it, but it just, when you step away from it for an extended period of time and then you come back and play, you're refreshed, right? And you're able to, you know, digest, if not accept, you know, the shortcomings in the game that are preventing you from really like optimizing the fun factor, you know? But if you like Destiny, you like Destiny. Regardless of what happens in the future, if you like Destiny, if you like the world of Destiny, you enjoy the gameplay, you enjoy like the core mechanics of the game, you're going to be a consumer of their product until they retire the game.
Good, because of just how good the gunplay and fun the gunplay is.
Move on, and you need to realize this and have some self-awareness and knock on your own fucking fucked up skull, because
That's true.
it's the same shit every year.
It's true.
You know? I just like,
Glad's raw, man.
I want to see my friends be happy, man. I want to see my friends be happy.
True.
And
Me
I
too,
just
man.
see so many people not happy all the time. It's the same. It's the same shit. I mean, is it like at some point? Because I see what people are saying, right? People don't want to leave. They're stuck. It's how they're, you know, we're talking like content.
His logo looks like a ghost.
They're stuck. It's how they're making money.
Right.
They can't leave. They'll lose their, you know, income. I see. I get what you're saying, but at some point, doesn't there have to be a breaking point? And if you're not at that breaking point after 9 fucking years, like when does that break it? Do you just hate your fucking life for like 15 years and then you retire and you're like, all right, cool, that was fun. I fucking hated all of that. Like at some point there has to be like a point where you make a change. Like what is life without taking risks and making changes?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to grow as a person? Like
I feel that.
Like everybody can do, even if it's something as simple as just limiting your playtime to like 2 hours a day or a couple hours a week, and then doing other things that make you happy. That could be other games, that could be other hobbies. Like, I
we're talking
want
about the same
people to
shit.
be happy. That's ultimately
We're
what
talking about
this
the
comes
same
down
stuff.
to. Is
I paused and talked about
I
this 2
don't
minutes ago.
like seeing people so upset all the time.
Jake, is he calling you out? I mean, I think he's partially calling me out, but he's aware. I think maybe this even inspired this video a little bit. He's aware of my recent outbursts and my recent, hey, I'm gonna play other games because I'm so frustrated. I'm not saying that I'm the reason he made this video, but he's definitely talking about me a little bit while talking about.
Isn't that saying the same thing though, Jake? I mean, listen, you are a significant influencer, but I mean, unless you actually talk with Glad, or I'm watching Glad and watching you. Even though you put your videos out, and I haven't necessarily watched all of them, but I've seen like your thumbnails. I don't think he's basing it solely upon you. Are you a factor because you're a heavy influencer in the Destiny PvP community? For sure, but I don't think he's like singling you out by any means.
Out that side of the video. So this isn't like Jake, wake the fuck up, get away from Destiny. I think when he was talking about how at the beginning
You ain't
of the video,
leaving
he
Destiny,
sees people
brother.
doing that, he's talking about seeing me doing that and other people too. I believe this is more for the people who are still just grinding trials and only trials, even though they tweet a bunch of negative shit all the time. I think his perspectives are very interesting here. If Destiny is only a 10-year plan and we're at 9 years now, and there's only like a year left, there is some validity to this idea of, even if it's really tough and you're not having very much fun, I'm talking about like the top 0.01% of people right now. I'm talking about the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trials streamers, YouTubers right now. It might make sense for them to just keep grinding trials, even if they hate it. Make as much money from it as they can if it's going to go.
But this is what I want to know. Why are you singling your guys out, the top 5 people in the stream, right? So, and I guess this is one thing that I perhaps need to do more research on, right? Making a living off of live streaming and YouTube content with a game like Destiny specifically is an Everest to climb, okay? But I do believe it's achievable, right? It's achievable just like anything in life if you have a goal and you focus on it and you remain positive, and you know, you'll be able to position yourself for success. I firmly believe that you can do that in anything in life, right? And that's something that I'm trying to do. Am I immediately going to vault into the top 5 of being in the directory? Realistically, no, right? It takes a lot of hard work, and like I aforementioned, it's learning the craft, it's refining it, and putting out content that's informative, entertaining, and that people vibe on top of just like the type of person and the type of vibe that, you know, you deliver, you know, on stream and in your recorded content. But to just like single out those top streamers, maybe it's because you have to be at the top of Everest to really consider yourself being full-time. This is how I provide for myself. I think there's a tremendous, I don't think you should immediately dismiss those that aren't in the top 5 in the directory, or top 10 or top 15, what have you. Whatever that top portion is, the biggest concern would be like for that the middle of the road, the people that are looking to do this full time, that are trying to build up their communities, right? I think from like a marketing perspective, if those top people decide, you know, I'm not going to do Destiny anymore or do little of it, and I'm going to move into another genre, into another game, the majority of people that they build up inside of Destiny want to see Destiny. Like, they'll watch you do other things, but at the end of the day, when they log on and play, they want to play Destiny. And if you're not providing updates, content, information, entertainment with something that they're actively logging on and playing, then they'll be detractors, right? And you're gonna have to find someone else in the new circle inside your community in whatever game or genre that you're playing. I think that would benefit those mid-tier streamers, and then obviously trickle down to people just starting. It's interesting to discuss. Like I said, streamers and content creators don't openly talk about this type of metrics and this type of dynamics. So I think from just like a player perspective, and even as a new content creator's perspective, to hear this input, I think it's very beneficial. I think it's extremely, it's very, very interesting. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am.
Away in a year anyway. So like him explaining that if we're at year 9 of 10, like what are you still fucking doing? Well, if you're that fucking close, why not get every dollar you can out of it and move on afterwards? That's not what I'm doing. I am playing other games. I'm not going to just go hard on trials even if I'm fucking miserable for 24/7. But almost you could flip that argument upside down and be like, maybe you should just go for it for the last year that you can. Maybe you should milk it for everything it's possible, or you can, even if it's frustrating. Not all work is amazing. Not everybody goes to their job and is like, I'm fucking happy as hell. Some people have to grind through shit to make money.
I love it. I love it.
I'm not saying that I should do that, but it might make sense for some people too. I almost feel like he kind of cornered himself with that argument, considering how close we are to the end. If we were like 20 years more of trials, then god damn it, not even close. But there's only
No, Jake, what he's trying to say, I don't think he cornered himself into an argument. I think what he's saying is it's about the hamster wheel, and I'm knocking on your skull, right? To basically wake you the fuck up because you're a gamer friend, personal friends of his, and I don't want to see you filled with angst and hatred and be frustrated. Even more so if you're on the streaming content creator side, because you've been banging your fucking head against the wall, and every single time that you post something, it resonates with all of that angst and hatred and frustration. And then you're going to find yourself waking up at the end of this 10-year cycle saying, what the fuck did I do? Like, you may have paid your bills, right? And you may have reached that notoriety, but at what cost? I think that's what he's saying. I think he's in the financial world. When you give financial advice, right? It's not just how much money you have, right? It's what are you passionate about? What keeps you up at night? What puts a smile on your face, right? When you answer those questions, it's at that point you can start having a constructive conversation on how to structure the assets that you have, right? It all starts with your family, right? Your occupation. What do you do, right? Like what do you do for recreation, right? And the actual like amount of money you have and the physical assets that you have, liquid or not, like that comes later, right? Like, you need to set yourself up financially to support yourself so you can go to bed at night with a peace of mind that you'll be able to wake up and safely and securely do it again to take care of you, your family, your loved ones, what have you, right? But at the same time, money isn't everything to accomplish those goals, right? You need enough to live. So why kill yourself and make yourself miserable when perhaps you can take a risk, right? A calculated risk, an educated risk, which I think is what Glad's point is. And I think what Jake might be misinterpreting here as him cornering himself. I think he's just like, find the empathy within yourself to love yourself instead of being miserable with what you're doing, regardless of what the payout is. Because at the end of the day, you can find something that's constructive and that'll make you happy and uplift you and others and be able to provide for you on a day-to-day basis.
like 1 year left, 1.5 years left. We assume we'll learn more August 22nd when they tell us about the future of Destiny. Again, that's not my plan.
Destiny Showcase, baby. YouTube, August 22nd here on the channel. Let's go.
Video or another YouTube channel for my other games, but on Twitch, I'm gonna definitely be playing other games a lot, just because it's gonna be good for my happiness, and that's what I'm prioritizing recently.
Good for you, Jake.
I'm not upset all the time. I don't think that there's that many Trials streamers that are. I think if you spend 8 hours streaming Trials and you get 6 people to the Lighthouse in the first 6 hours, then you play 3 cheaters back to back to back, you're going to tweet out about the cheaters. Your stream might have been fun. You might have enjoyed yourself. But what people are going to see when they look at Twitter is you bitching about cheaters. They're going to assume your whole stream was playing cheaters. They're going to wonder why the fuck you were playing Trials for 8 hours straight if you were just matching cheaters. I really think that most of this video is great perspective and very interesting, but a lot of it is miscalculated because he's assuming that what he sees on Twitter, which is that inflated negativity getting more views and more likes because it's Twitter and they love negative posts. He's assuming that this is all of our lives all the time in PvP when that is not all of our lives all the time in PvP. Even today, Trials, I played it for about 10 hours. I hated today overall, way more than most days. We still got 4 people flawless, and I still did enjoy a good portion of it. And that was on one of my least favorite Trials days I've had in a month. So it's not all horrible like he sort of is seeming to make it seem. There's just some bad, shitty things that happen, but it's not all garbage.
And a lot
I don't know how to reply to what Jake just said. I think you're sugarcoating the overall angst that the PvP community has. And hey, I could be wrong. You're in front of the PvP community, certainly more than I am, or certainly more than anyone else for that matter. And not just now, but, you know, spanning years. So your finger is on the pulse. Honestly, Jake, do you really feel that the majority of PvP players out there are happy with what they're doing? Right? Step out of your shoes. What you see in chat. What conversations do you have with other creators, people that help you in Trials or friends of yours, right? And not just things that you read on Twitter specifically, but any other form of social media. And just like, what is your gut telling you? You know, if your gut's telling you that for the most part, people share your sentiment and you're 75% of the time you're enjoying what you're doing, it's just the 25% that gets taken way out of context because people just gravitate towards shit post and, you know, hate speech towards PvP and Bungie the studio and what have you. If that's what it is, then fine, right? But for a minority player base in the Destiny community, you ask anybody and they're like, PvP players are fucking miserable, and justifiably so. And I think that's just what Glad is pointing out. Whether you're a full-time player or a PvP content creator, what the fuck are you doing? And then why are you still, not only why are you complaining about it, but why are you still playing it, right? If it's just coming down to you just straight up playing because you're trapped into that's how you get the income and you're in a job that you don't like doing. I mean, you said it yourself, who goes into their job loving what they do every single day, right? But if like they're not sharing the same sentiment as you, where 75% of that experience is enjoyable, right? And they can't manage the 25% downtime and that frustration, that's what Glad's point is. I think his point is just fucking move on, figure something out to make you happier, a better person, because that'll have a positive effect on the community that you have and the gamers that you're playing and chilling with.
A lot of creators have been doing that lately, and it warms my heart to see it. And there's more coming. Like there's a lot more creators and friends of mine that are Destiny mains that are making moves and are doing things. And you just
see, he's talking
as a
about
PvE
me at least
player,
a little
you
bit
cannot main this game as a hardcore PvE loot grinder. It's just not that type of game anymore. If you're a PvE player, you're playing this game and you're creating your own content. And it's as sad as that is, that's the reality of it from a PvE player. Because once day one raids are done, it's just the same old shit with the same old fucking model and the same old drip feed and the same old bullshit. So essentially you're just creating your own content, or you're doing things that are creating incentive or challenge for yourself. It's just, that's the PvE lifestyle. And if you're playing Destiny PvE hardcore, that's exactly what you're doing, right? Or you're just an uber collector and you want to collect everything in the entire game, which is going to create more content for you as well. But and then, you know, if you're, like I said, you're the PvP player, I think I've already covered that. You're just constantly
video's
waiting
almost
for
over.
these updates that you want that are just never going to happen. Destiny is a great game. Wonderful game.
It
It's
is.
just a fucking burnout when you try to grind it more than it provides. And it's been around for a long time. Probably for the more than half of the life of some of you in chat right now. Anybody under the age of 20, Destiny's been around for literally over half of your life.
Can Haley Deegan's high-powered Can-Am X3
I don't know. Can Haley Deegan do it?
All right, hey, we'll go rewind to where you can see Glad's face. Cool. I don't know. Final thoughts? Like, I agree with a lot of what he says, and I think it's important to recognize that the replayability, like he's suggesting in PvE, is very rough. The replayability in PvP is not. I personally have created like a pretty well-oiled machine between earning carrots, using those on raffles, saving up for auctions, getting a new viewer in, having this goal of trying to get to the lighthouse. It's a goal that everybody in chat can follow. It's a goal that I understand. Everybody can get into it. I could play trials. Don't talk about cheaters and weird metas and whatnot. Just talk about the concept of grinding trials. I could do that all day, every day. Getting a new viewer in, raffle auction, that goal of trying to go flawless, fighting to try to win these 4-4 matches. Like, that is replayable as hell. Just like sports are the same thing, game after game after game after game, but they have different outcomes and different things happening throughout the game. The replayability of trials to me is really high. Whereas in PvE, when you do the same strike and the same thrall comes out of the same hallway and everyone goes 3, 2, 1, shoot. Okay, put your rift here. I'm going to stun this ogre. All right, 3, 2, 1, linear. All right, divinity this thing in 3, 2, 1. Like, the replayability of PvE is tough because you're doing the same fucking thing over and over and over. And there's no variety. There's no variability. So, Glad.
Okay. I know he's in his final thoughts right here, and I'm about to give mine when Jake is done. But Jake, come on, man. Like, I agree that PvP, there's a lot more opportunities for self-expression and creativity. And it's, even though it's the same map, it's, it's a different engagement with different loadouts, playing against a human being. So there's a lot more creativity. There's a lot more variety there. I get it. But come on, man. You know as well as I do, and I'm not like I'm not Osiris, okay? But when I play trials and I play comp, and I'm with two very like astute, like seasoned veteran PvP players, Crucible players, their call outs and their loadouts, playing the meta and the path that they take, which lane they're going to first identify, like that's repetitive in and of itself, right? And yes, it does lead to more creativity. I agree with you right there. But let's not just fucking discount PvE where, let's drop the well, stand in the well, rocket meta, because that is the most efficient way to go about like slaying the boss or going through that DPS phase. There is a lot of creativity and different nuances that you can take on the PvE side. Unfortunately, I think you would handicap yourself just as much, if not more, as if you took that philosophy and adopted it into PvP. Like, just because PvP is in a hole right now, and perhaps it's been for quite some time, let's not shit on PvE. That's all I'm saying.
Did a wonderful thing a couple years ago. I would have done the same thing in his shoes because he realized that if I stream Destiny 2 PvE full time, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. He was going to be bored out of his goddamn mind if he was trying to stream 50-ish hours of PvE Destiny every single season. Again, the replayability that I just showed you between PvE and PvP is very different. It would have been the same. I don't know how I'm enjoying PvP replayability as much as I do, but I do. If I was in his shoes,
because it's more creative and you're an S tier player.
I absolutely look up to him. I don't care how much you agree or disagree with his takes on this. I absolutely look up to him. The man realized how frustrating his game was, how unable he was to enjoy himself streaming it full time, and realized that he was going to lose subscribers, lose followers, lose viewers, and lose money by going and chasing other games. But he said, I have to do this, and he made that scary decision. He took that scary risk, and he did it. I respect the hell out of him for it. He now streams tons of games. He streams stupid hours because he's just having such a good time, and he doesn't look back. He made a great decision. He did a wonderful job making his career not just based off of Destiny, but making it based off of other games. Good for him. And it makes it easier for him to speak to because he was successful in that journey. It's important to realize that not everybody can be successful in that journey. I think there's a very good chance I could be. But when you're talking about content creators and YouTubers and Twitch streamers and whatnot, not everybody can do what he did. He killed it. Good for him. He's got this crazy grind mind where he can get into a game so much that he just commits in full sends, and that's going to lead to success for him. But not everybody can do that. I'll even talk about me for an example. I spent the entire last Iron Banner weekend playing 0 Destiny at all. Comment after comment after comment after comment on YouTube and Twitch. Good job doing variety. We'll be here no matter what. Good job doing variety. We'll be here no matter what. We'll support you no matter what. Hell yeah, Jake. It's about time. We'll support you no matter what. Guess what? All numbers across all categories across the board were about a third of what they normally are. At least on that Monday and that Tuesday when I played Crackdown. More like maybe a half or 2/3 on the previous days. Not me complaining, just me being realistic. There is a lot of risk in swapping games. You're not just gonna be able to do it and not see a downside. So
that's what I mentioned before.
For doing it, but it's important to recognize how much risk and how much non-guarantee there is there. For gamers overall, I agree. If you are so pissed at Bungie and so pissed about PvP, why are you still playing it full time? Go to other games. Come back when you feel like it, but when you're pissed, stop being pissed and continue to play. Go do something else. I could not agree more. I don't know. I feel like I've spoken my piece. I really do. I've never seen this video before. That was my first watch through. I agree with a lot of what he says. I think he misses a lot with the whole PvP situation. He thinks it's always been utter bullshit and will never get better. He doesn't realize that we've been doing a roller coaster ride every single year. He only sees the negatives on Twitter because Twitter inflates them. He doesn't realize that there are people having fun with PvP. And even on the days where we play cheaters and hate things, we still have good times throughout that stream. I think he's missing a lot of that information, which is important for him to know. But I do think that his overall message is really good. I feel like I've hit every part of his video. I think I've summarized it pretty well. I think I've got a shit ton of perspective on this. I've played more trials than anybody in the goddamn world. And I think he's got a shit ton of perspective because he's gone from Destiny to other games more successfully than anybody in the world. We cover two very different perspectives. And I think that maybe this video can be interesting as a result. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. We did this live on Twitch. If you are not following me on Twitch, I'd love it if you'd follow me on Twitch. I'm live all the time. Again, on YouTube, let me know what you thought. This might have been a weird video. I know a ton of people have already watched Glad talk about this and make their reaction post to it. Glad doesn't know I'm doing this, but Stonewall, my editor, told me to, and that's why we're here. So if you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, it's Stonewall's fault. Thanks for watching. See you on Twitch. And have a good one.
Okay. So time for my final thoughts. Here are my final thoughts on this. I wanted to put this video out for a couple reasons. Primarily because I've seen the impact that reaction videos have had on creators communities, and it's been very impactful, and there's been a lot of positive conversations inside the comment section and then outside. I've played and overheard conversations in my gaming sessions about certain takes and reactions, so I think it's like very healthy and cool content. So I want to do something in that regard, but I also want to do something different, and I haven't seen anyone do a reacting to a reaction of someone's reacting, right? So I wanted to do something like that. And I think what's great is that Jake worded it very well. He has a tremendous amount of perspective, not just on PvP, right? Whereas Glad has a tremendous amount of perspective and experience on the PvE side, right? But they're both tenured content creators, specifically within Destiny, but Glad has gone outside and expanded what his scope is for content creation and live streaming, right? And then Jake is, I feel, is like on the precipice of doing that himself, right? But because he is the trials guy, right? And he generates a lot of his, what makes his content attractive is that when you think Grenadier Jake, you think trials carries and PvP content. Like for me, that's the first thing that comes into my mind. So, but he is on the precipice of branching out and doing other things because I feel like his positive vibe and his like just overall gameness, like he'll be able to do anything, right? What they're bringing their perspectives on not just what they do as content creators, but being PvP focused and PvE focused, as well as providing my perspective on being a new content creator and streamer. Okay. I don't know either of these gentlemen personally, right? I haven't watched these videos, right? Except for maybe like the first 5 minutes of Glad's, right? On top of that, I'm also a Destiny focused creator, and I've been playing Destiny for as long as they have, right? So I may not have played the alpha and beta of Destiny, but I started playing very early when Destiny 1 first launched. So I've been on the bus, man, right? I'm also have a tremendous amount of life experience. I've worked a lot of different jobs in my life. I've worked with my hands. I've worked behind a desk. I've done it all. I have what I feel is a very unique perspective because I'm a straight shooter. I'll never bullshit somebody. And when I decided to go on this content creating and streaming journey, I'm here, like my eyes are wide open and I want to absorb and process as much as I can. And then reiterate that in the most informative and entertaining way that I can, right? To build my own community and to participate in the greater, not just Destiny community, but online gaming community. That's my vibe, man. That's what I'm trying to do. And by doing something that's a reaction to a reaction, I think it's cool, right? So you get the best of both worlds, and you also get Sloop Gaming's opinion on top of it. So, let's have fun with this and see where it goes. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video today. Both of these guys are on point, right? So Glad's whole video is about why are you playing PvP if you fucking hate it so much, right? If all you do is complain, all you do is frustrated, why do you play Destiny 2 PvP if you're that fucking miserable? Move on. Or take a break. I don't want to see you unhappy. And then he lists his reasons why. And Jake agrees with him, but he doesn't agree that the PvP community has been miserable since jump. And I'll tell you what, Jake, I mean, you're the PvP guy and you have to sell it, and you're a straight shooter, I can see it. But from a marketing perspective, maybe more so early on in your career than the latter half, you have to like promote what you're doing. You know what I mean? And, when you're live streaming and vibing, like I've watched some of your streams before and like, they're cool, I'm not really into like watching PvP streams personally, but like your vibe is cool. And the people in that community are those that you're also like marketing to for your brand. So like for the most part, I don't think that you'll be privy to like shitting on what's going to like make you money, right? So you're not going to downplay. You'll have your conversations and provide your input, but you're always going to be up for PvP. So your natural inclination is always to defend it. And I think some of the topics that he brought up and some of your take that Glad had brought up and some of your points that you made in calling him out in certain areas came off a little on the defensive. But you're entitled to that. And for the most part, I not just agree with what Glad's points are. I stated the things that I thought you were a little off on, but I think us all three as being content creators, regardless of my experience, just as Destiny players, I think we're all on the same page. I think the one point that you could have drove home a little better was, and I think Glad should have expanded upon it, but I caught it right away, is the empathy he has for his fellow gamers and wanting people to enjoy what they're doing. So when they do take to socials, that they're being more positive. Unfortunately, from a marketing perspective and from like impressions and clicks, the good shit people don't click on, man. But the nasty shit, people are going to watch over and over and over again. And, they'll get their rocks off. And that's unfortunate. That's never going to change. It is what it is. But that doesn't mean that you can't strive to better yourself. And if bettering yourself means stepping away from the game, taking a break, and then coming back with a fresh perspective, because if you do come back and immediately like, oh my God, like this game is still shit after I took a break. If that's your fucking reaction of taking a break from a game, not just Destiny 2, but any game for that matter, if you're logging on every single day and there's always a negative conversation, you're just drowning. You're drowning, man, and I don't think Glad wants to see that from any gamer. And that's why he's emphasizing the hamster wheel. That's why he's knocking on your skull, right? And even though Jake with the roller coaster up and down, yes, Bungie specifically has done things to lift up the PvP community and make things better. That one update. But again, that's 2 fucking years ago, right? In the 2 years since, in the 2 years before, in the years before that, Glad's just making the point. The PvP community is overtly fucking miserable because nothing significant happens or is sustained, right? It's an event and then it's gone. There's no sustaining like they have on the PvE side. Hence, do something different or take a break because you just haven't come to that realization yet. That's the crux of the biscuit. And that's what I hope people take away from when they watch Glad's video individually, alone, or they watch Jake's reaction, or if you happen to make it long enough to catch my final thoughts here on these two fine gentlemen's take on a very significant and important issue, not just in Destiny 2, but this is applicable to any other game and just gaming culture itself. These are the type of topics that I discuss and bring up when I host the 0 Hour podcast, the weekly podcast, and not just focuses on the Destiny 2 community, but online gaming and the gaming community. We discuss this every single week, every single episode, and also during my live streams on Twitch. I'm always here to engage what your thoughts and feelings are on gaming and gaming culture. So it's what we vibe on here at Sloop Gaming. I hope you enjoyed my reaction to their reaction to them reacting. I had a lot of fun. I certainly hope you did. Thank you so much. And as I always say, let's level up together. Be safe, stay vigilant, and as always, may the light protect us all. Peace out. Thank you for watching. Likes and shares are very much appreciated. And subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. Peace.